Well, you just been clickbaited on how to burn the clutches on your zero-turn mower. Just kidding. Here we have a 1986 Toyota 4Runner that I acquired 5 years ago that never was touched on to work on. I didn't have anything to pull it with, so I went ahead and got my zero turn and decided to almost kill myself while using it, but that's okay. Pop the hood and hold and behold, we see something amazing.
It's pretty bad in there.
Yeah, it's pretty bad in there. We find large deposits of rat crap. Not a good sign. I'm already expecting some broken wires, some messed up, just bad deals all around. I went ahead and tried to cover every single hole I could find. I planned at this moment that this thing needed to be have a really good pressure washing. So that's what I'm preparing to do, covering the throttle body, the vane airflow sensor, some radiator hoses, or radiator pipe per se. I grabbed the nearest thing I could find, and that was the Gorilla Tape that was right behind my toolbox. That's the return line to the fuel tank for the fuel. I created my own junction block cover with Gorilla Tape. I had to make sure I didn't get my hands dirty because it's rat stuff. You don't know what this rat's been to or what he's touched, so I was kind of careful, you may say. Got the old power horse from Northern Tools, if you're ever wondering what that is. I had a couple of issues trying to turn this thing on. It just wouldn't turn on. It was just a bad deal all around, alright? And then the setup takes a while, right? You just gotta make sure you assemble it right and get my super long hose ready. It's a 30 feet hose if you want to know. Purging the air out of this thing. Very important step when you're trying to turn on one of these things. So here I'm doing a nice pre-workout. Yep, I feel you. Skipped through the footage where I took an hour trying to start this thing and got it to where it actually ran. Not a good deal. It's not good when the rat turd turns into mud and it gets all over your hands and face. You just don't want that in your mouth, right? But I wasn't careful enough and I just didn't get a mask. I should have got a mask. Now that I think about it, I should have got a mask. But I tried to get every spot I could, and then I realized that I forgot to cover some spots.
Whew. That was a lot of rat poop. I'm gonna let it dry up in the sun for a little bit, let it dry off. I didn't miss to cover some of the engine parts, very important engine parts, but since we're not gonna crank it while there's water in there, we'll be fine. We just gotta make sure we take that out when we try to crank this thing. But other than that, I'm gonna let this pressure washer run for a little bit. I was kind of weird, it kind of wasted maybe the whole hour of my day. But we'll come back to it. I'm gonna also let this battery charge because, like I said, that pressure washer was kind of uninspected. It should have cranked at the first. Well, should have cranked in the first run, but whatever. We got it running. Let me go charge this battery, and we'll be back.
And we're back. Nice, clean. Well, almost clean. You see the radiator hose there still has a little bit of smearing on it, but that's fine. We just wanted to get most of it off, and I think we got the job done doing that. Here's the other side of the engine. Try to get it as best as possible. Especially the corners. It was just covered. It was just covered with, I don't know. I guess this rat ate its own stuff. It was struggling so hard. It must have been winter time. I don't know. All right, but it was a bad deal. And to surprise to myself that I didn't find any broken wires or anything, which was a good sign. Here, let me point out a few things that this engine does need. This engine was swapped in from another donor truck that I got, and that was a couple years ago that I did get the engine. So right off the bat, we find that the battery's missing. We need that battery with some cable management. The cables are just all over the place. The guy that had it last just took out the engine, sold the engine. He had a 22RE and had a dream to put a LS swap in it, but that was a complete failure. We need some air intake ducting that goes to the throttle body to the vane airflow. Need a couple of clamps for this radiator hose. That's very important for the cooling system. Oh, back to that cable management, I wanted to point out that it needs to be connected to the junction block. I find out that one of the heater hoses has a large gap to the heater core. I found out that this truck had a 3-inch spacer lift that we needed to compensate for. Checking the oil, make sure there's no oil in it, and I think that was a good deal. Not have oil in this while it sat for a very long time. Like I said, I got the engine about 4 years ago when I got this truck. Everything's almost there. There's no transmission in it. We're gonna need a transmission. I have the manual trans in the container over there. Let me see how this thing turns over. Give me a second. So knowing that it doesn't have oil, I was curious, since it sat for a long time, if it would turn, and lo and behold, it does turn. That's a good deal. A turning engine is what we need, right? We rebuilt this engine with the OEM 22RE rebuild kit from Toyota, and good thing that no water got in there and seized up or anything like that. I guess we did a good job at the storage, prepping it for storage, and came out to be good. On this side of the engine, we are missing some more things from the left side or driver's side. Right off the bat, you see the EGR piping, or actually that's not EGR, it's secondary air, I believe, or EGR. It has to be EGR. Yeah. So we need the EGR piping that goes on the exhaust manifold. We can get that real easy, really easy to obtain. New, I can get a new or even used. Spark plugs, that's one of the very important things I did forget to cover, was the spark plug holes. Since it didn't have any spark plugs, I thought it had spark plugs, but it didn't have any. And I also forgot to cover the distributor. It didn't have a distributor cap on it. So I had that in mind, that I didn't cover those things. During this inspection, I did find out that there was brittle valve cover seals on the top where those nuts are. They're just completely brittle. It must have been all that rat liquids all over that thing. Just made it real brittle over time and just made it into a very bad deal. So I went to go do some digging, and I only found two things. One is pretty important. I mean, power control ECU. We need this to make the engine run for the fuel injection. And this big old duct, we need this too. So I guess life isn't that hard, but still we do need a lot of things to make this thing run. Hopefully I can get this thing done, up and running. This ECU is a 22RE Cali Smog model, whatever that means. But if it's for the 22RE, it shouldn't be an issue. It is for a 5-speed, which I do have. That's what the transmission I do have right now. It's a manual. But other than that, I think that's it, man. So the car isn't as bad of a shape that I thought it was in. I mean, it did have a lot of rat poop in there. I wanted to clean. All we did was just clean it up and see what we needed to get this car running. We do need quite a few stuff: spark plugs, distributor cap, some wires. We do need some clamps for the radiator hose. We do got that intake duct that we need to install. We have the ECU there. Good thing we do have an ECU. Hopefully the gas that's been sitting, we're not gonna save that gas. That gas is bad, 100%. For the most part, the engine does turn good.
Everything looks pretty much good. So I'm feeling pretty confident that this is gonna be a good one. This is gonna be definitely a good one. Oh, we need a battery too, so stay tuned for the next one. We're gonna be doing more and more stuff to this thing. Get this thing up and running. Make it street legal. Just another project down for the Pupusa Viking, you know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.